everybody. So right now we have to pull flowers for an installation and to bouquet it. So today we're going to learn how to create an installation mostly in the shop, bring it, and then piece it together when you get on site. So it's not even going to require more than, say, maybe 2 designers on site to do it. And you'll have most of your heavy lifting done before you leave. I walked in here today to Pennock and they said, okay, here's what we have. So my next thought is, all right, what am I gonna do with these colors? So obviously, install work is seen from a distance, so you really wanna use bulkier things. Yes, you want some dancing flowers. And in my line of work, the way that I think about things, I sort of separate my flowers into categories. So I consider things filler flowers, small round flowers, medium round flowers, dancing flowers, and laterals, okay? That's how I look at it. And really basically bulk or filler flowers are basically base flowers, like maybe a hydrangea, things I can use underneath to bump up the size and volume, but really not to be a focal point, all right? So I look at this group of flowers and I think, okay, right now it is pretty, but we need to make some sense of it. And the way that I try to make sense of things is using my color wheel. So I see a lot of yellow in this group, not just solid yellow, okay? I don't just see solid yellow here. I see mustard yellow, so everything in this whole section I'm seeing. And yellow, when you take yellow to the top, it really is green, okay? So yellow, I don't know why that is, but it is that yellow moves all the way up mostly to like an olive green or like a sort of a dirty green. So I know that I've got, for all intents and purposes, a yellow here, although there's a lot of blue in it. So I also have coral. Coral is basically right here. If you move over from yellow, you're over here into this phase right there, but it's basically this color pink mixed with yellow, okay? And that's so I know there's yellow in this coral and there's yellow in the center of that coral flower. Then I've got white. White's at the top of every color in the lineup. It starts at white, moves down, which is all the color. So we know we have yellow here. Then I see that we have cappuccino roses, definitely yellowy brown. And then we have this color right here, which is almost like a teal. So we're gonna do we're gonna basically run our color wheel in an ombre, because that's the way I look at it. So I'm gonna take these flowers over to the table and I'm gonna show you how I would ombre them out and get them ready. The other thing you need to have prepared when you do an installation, if you were working in my shop, you would make sure that you had cages, Oasis cages. If you don't want to use Oasis, I can teach you how to do it without foam. Using the exterior portion of an Oasis cage and still do it in the shop and still get it in water. And then you're gonna need, so in this case, I think I've got, let's say it's a 10 feet high by, 2 or 3 feet long. I always, per each foot, I do a cage, or 2, depending on how big it needs to be. So in this case, I think we're doing about 30 cages, all right? So that's what you're gonna need ready, and chicken wire, okay? All right, let's go over and look at some flowers. Okay, so what I wanna do is start to really just group these flowers by ombre before I get started. In my shop, I would say, okay, everybody go soak 20 cages, 30 cages, whatever it's gonna be. And I would start my ombre. So the only way I can really do it is to kind of start pulling out flowers. And if you need to use your color wheel, do it, okay? Because your color wheel is gonna give you all the information that you need. I'm gonna move coral all the way down here because I'm doing that. And then we have some browns. So you're gonna start to see it. I'm basically putting my main colors here, and then I'm gonna pull my bouquet flowers. So this is just the ideal way to do this, if you can. I love this like softer yellow. I'm gonna pull further yellow, the softer, you're starting to see the ombre. Now see this? This is a blender flower. Blender flowers have 2 colors in them. or 3. So they give us this freedom to start marrying these colors. You need sort of like a joiner, okay, something to join these colors together. Oranges and pinks. If you can start to see now how this is starting to marry or become like more of a more sensible union of color, that's what we want you to see. Got our cappuccino roses, love these. So we're going to bring these over here into these browns and pinks. And as I look, I go, oh, okay, now I like this better. See how when you start to do this, you start to say, okay, this is going to make sense. Now look at, we start to do, if we start to do our installation, it's going to start to feel like, ooh, that's making a lot of sense now. That is really pretty, and everything's getting its focus and its opportunity to live in the sun here. So we have these Wabara roses or cafe lattes. Sorry. They have a lot of blue in them. Blue is one of the colors I'm going to pull out, not bother with in this installation. But these are amazing cafe lattes. So what I want to do, and they're usually dear, they're a little expensive. You only need a few of these nicer flowers because they're gonna stick out above the rest. So for example, even in this installation, anything that's really pricey, I'm gonna pull it way forward, and then people are gonna think, oh, that's what's in there, okay? So this is gonna become a bouquet flower. So I'm just gonna set it aside here for later. Got more cappuccinos. This is another really good blender flower, a cappuccino, because you've got 2 colors going on. You've got all this hot pink, and see, when I looked, it's really red, but it's more of a pink. So when I looked at this, I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do with these bright pinks in this group? But look what this cappuccino afforded me. It afforded me a bridge to put in these hot pinks, which I love. These butterflies, not really something with pinks. So I'm really liking what we have going on here. We've got some chocolate, some nice chocolate ranunculus. That's going to go over here into this family. It's going to work really well here with this. Let's take a look at our color wheel. So let's talk about the color wheel again. We see that we're where we've gone, right? We've gone from yellow all the way over to pink. You see it here. You're basically here. Oh, let me flip it this way. You're here. Yellows, oranges. Oh, I can't do it. Sorry, guys. Yellows. We went from yellow all the way over to pink so far. So if I get stuck, I look at the color wheel, and believe me, you don't have to stay in one block. You can work through your lighter or darker shades of color, which is basically adding white or adding black. We don't need to get into color theory right now, but just using your simple color wheel. I know that I'm into the yellows here, so I know that I can, this is another really good blender flower, this hellebore, because it actually has white, yellow in it, okay? So I can really move from yellow to green comfortably. So that's a good way to kind of start that mix. And because I know that I could use some of this lighter daisy color, because I'm thinking, you know, at this point I'm at the bottom of my install, right? Because I'm going to do a little puddle at the bottom. And where does green normally grow? At the base. So I'm going to puddle it up from the bottom. If we move it into a green glue, which would be basically taking this next, right here, okay? So now we're starting to blend green to blue. Then we could really, if we wanted to, you know, move over into a more solid blue and a brighter, like more teal blue, okay? And it's not as jarring to head over in this direction. That we do this and then we move to there. Now, in an ombre, and I'm gonna teach you this, you want to make sure that you marry the colors. You're not just gonna totally color block unless you're doing that kind of an install. So you're gonna do some of this, but you're always gonna be dropping little bits of this there, and then marry it with the next color, then marry it with the next color. Okay, so when I box things in the shop, I take a low tray, just like I was telling you. Normally I would cover it with plastic so I can actually create a water source in the base and, you know, fill it with water without my boxes crushing. I'll actually start to put it exactly how I'm going to install it on the install. So I'll actually go right here, how I'm starting to move into yellow. This is how it's going on the install. And then I number each box so that when we get there, we can just put them, especially the people that are on the trucks, they see, oh, box 1 installation goes right there, right in a row. So now it's really, you know, you don't want to keep thinking. And the other thing I wanted to tell you guys is when you're cutting your stems, you know, if you're working with 2 cages that are going to be the same thing, you want to tell your staff to do both of those cages at the same time. We don't want to have to think each time, right? And then if you need to cut staggered, just pull your roses up to the levels where you want them and then cut them. Okay, then you've already staggered your heights, and you'll cut everything you need, you know, maybe for one section. So, you know, if you can try to get them into the, you know, factory mode, which is very hard for designers because they want to, you know, they want to just sit there and play. But if you can, they're going to be happier at the end of the day. That's what I always tell them. 4 o'clock comes and they can leave versus 6 o'clock because they were playing, and your bottom line's going to be great.